What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode. Today's one's going to be a little bit different. I'm actually going to walk you through a conversation that I had with a client who was out in Portugal competing for the first time in 6 months, and basically around how the subconscious mind works and how you can actually improve, whether it's as a chipper, a putter, a long iron player, driver off the tee, by not actually doing anything technical with your game. And the reason being is because after we caught up through WhatsApp, he mentioned that there was still a lack of belief with his putting. So he was playing well, but he was unable to score well. And we all know who the culprit is when it comes to not being able to score well, right? It's what you do around the green and what you do on the green. And if you are running and operating on a lack of belief around your putting ability, you kind of know what to expect already from the minute you step out on the golf course. You know, and your subconscious is a very, very powerful tool. And the way that I like to look at this is like an iceberg. Imagine you've got just the tip of the iceberg pointing out the water, and then underneath you've got this huge point all the way down to the bottom. Now, where the sea level comes across, at the above you've got all of your conscious thoughts. What club do I take? What do I eat? What do I listen to? You know, all of the stuff that you can actually see, touch, feel, hear, or smell that's going on around you. Except then underneath is your subconscious thoughts, your unconscious thoughts, if you want to call it a different name. And that is your values, your beliefs about yourself, how you see the world, all of these things that make up your self-image. And if your self-image is, I'm just not a good putter, I've never been a good putter, trust me when I say that is almost 100% going to be the roadblock in you performing how you know you can in competitions and when there's pressure on. Because if you're like my client, it's like he said, basically, I stood over putts not expecting to make them. I mean, he realized that this is a problem, but if you then pay too much attention to the fact that you're just, you're running and operating on the identity of I'm not a good putter and I've got to make up for it, of course, you can make other areas of your game stronger, right? You can try and get to the green in less shots and things like that and make other aspects of your game better. And within the game of golf, you're always going to be having, parts of your game that level up and parts of your game that drop off as a consequence. You can't all of the parts of your golf just accelerate like this. Maybe from a young age, but not as you probably at the level that you're at right now. Excuse me, the dog's just left his bed, so that was him flapping his ears about. Bud, you're going to get back on your bed. Come on. On your bed. Good boy. Where was I? At your level, yes, okay, you're always going to be refining and tweaking things. I don't have an issue with that. Like, that's what ambitious people do. They're always looking for ways to improve. But what we don't want to do is look at your grip, the putter, going for more lessons as to that's the answer. Because ultimately, at the root level of your poor performance with putting is the belief that you're operating on. So I asked him, how long do you think this has been going on? Like, how long do you feel like you've struggled with your putting? It's like, ever since I can remember. And I'm like, right, okay, you can see what we're dealing with here, right? You are, especially if you give it too much attention every time you go out on the golf course, even though it might not be what I was talking about, the tip of the iceberg, your conscious thoughts, your subconscious brain and mind is going to be looking for evidence to give you more reasons to believe that you are a shit putter. And the same goes for chipping, driving, long irons, whatever, approach shots, whatever may be your weaker part of your game. And for him, he, realizes that from tee to green now, the main thing that we were working on within his calls was disassociate himself with the score and what other people are doing so that he can stick to his own processes and come out on top and know what a successful week looks like and has he executed his game plan, which was happening. So there's some positives there, but if you are now standing over, the next level for him in his performances and getting to the next tour and the next tour and the next tour is improving his putting, improving how he sees himself as a putter. So if he's very tentative and, he can't quite pick a target and he can't pull the trigger, what most people will call the yips, right? Or mental block with putting. It's true. And your subconscious is listening and it will show you more evidence that you are not a good putter. What was really interesting is that he said in his own words here is that I can't ever remember being free, hence why I think it's a fantasy I've made up in my head. You can see what we're dealing with here, right? His identity is that he's not a good putter. He's always been a bad putter. He's never been a great putter, right? And until we shift that, putting will continue to be a weak point of his game. And I just asked him the question, well, what do you think elite level putters and good putters and great putters think when they're stood over a putt? And he come back saying, well, they're confident, right? And I was like, well, yeah. So he also then said, well, I remember my best friend on my college team, who was a very good putter, saying to me that he stood over every putt saying there is no chance that this doesn't go in. Right? Do you think that golfer doubted his putting ability? Do you think that golfer struggled with his putting? Do you think that golfer missed as many putts as you might have? No, because he was confident. Right? And, he might not have been like the most technically gifted putter, but you're certainly going to give yourself a better chance in believing and telling yourself that you are a good putter. So instead of standing over a putt and thinking about the next one coming back, which as we know is a crime in golf, we don't want to be thinking about the next putt. We want to be thinking about the putt that we're standing over going in the hole. And if you are stood over the putt that you're about to hit, thinking, oh, let me just lay this one up so I can knock the next one in, or let me not put this too far past so I can get the one coming back and not leave myself too much to clean up, you're going to miss that putt. Or at least the chances of you holding that putt are going to be a lot smaller. So we want to be able to stand over a putt. And I'm not talking about visualization. I'm not talking about visualizing it going in. I'm thinking about that you operate over the identity that you cannot fucking miss. Right? I would rather you be more confident. And this is the thing that most people say is that, well, how can I be confident if I've always been a bad putter? Well, the same rules applies that if you've never won a tournament yet, right? If you're about to go out and try to win your first tournament, or you're still searching for your first tournament win, you might say, well, how's this ever going to happen? Because I don't know what it's like. Well, what about all the other people that have won for the first time? Do you think they were thinking about not winning? They were just sticking to their process, making sure that they did exactly what they were meant to do over each and every shot, confident that it was going in, not doubting their abilities, not thinking about the putts that they've missed in the past and how they've never been a good putter. And eventually, they got closer and closer and closer until their time came. And they won, and it just happened. So then, off the back of that, with 2 more rounds to go out in Portugal, he said, well, do you suggest anything that I work on in the meantime whilst I'm out there? I was like, yeah, of course I do. I mean, as crazy as this might sound, but I want you to be delusional. I want you to wake up tomorrow and embody an identity of somebody that is a world-class elite level putter. I want you to wake up, look at yourself square in the eyes in the mirror and say, I am first name fucking surname and I cannot miss. Everything I hit today is going to go in the hole. Now, a lot of people might think, well, that's cringe. I don't want to be doing that because I'm lying and it's false and it's this and it's that. I'm like, yeah, but have you tried it? And the answer is probably no, because you might seem a little bit embarrassed to talk to yourself in the mirror or say these things out loud, just in case it doesn't happen. But that is the exact reason as to why it's not happening, because you're going out and operating on the belief that you can't and you're going to miss putts and you need to be careful on the greens because it's your weak point. If your subconscious mind hears, what if I miss this one coming back? What if I put this too far past and can't get the one coming back? You're going to tighten up, you're going to tense up, you're often going to either pull it, push it, your stroke's going to disappear and you're not going to putt freely. It's just not going to happen. We need you to be taking one shot at a time, looking at your target, executing the shot, whether that's with the driver, the irons, your chipper, your putting. So what I got him to do was set an alarm 20 to 30 minutes before his tee, with a note saying, I can't miss. I'm an elite level putter. I've seen it in practice. I now know these greens I'm going to play on. I've been removing the dust from my game, so I know there's work to do, but I'm exactly where I need to be right now. And I'm going to go out there and play one shot at a time, not thinking about the score, not thinking about what others think of me. I am free and I cannot wait to get out there and enjoy the game that I love. Now, again, with affirmations, people think that don't work, don't want to write things down. Well, ambitious people don't snub the chance to have marginal gains in whatever way it will be, right? So If there was a chance that that could improve the way that you play, why would you not do it? Why would you not try? Why would you not go out and get more data and more feedback that actually, yeah, no, that does work for me, or actually, no, that doesn't work for me? And obviously you can't just rely on the data from 1 or 2 rounds. It needs to be at least, 20, 30 rounds of thinking and adopting that level of mindset and that identity that I am a world-class putter, or, insert weakness that you have. And of course, I'm not saying that you can just think your way to being a better putter. You need the competence too. But if you've seen evidence that you can putt and you can put it in the hole, okay, if you're not that good of a putter, go out and practice. But go out and practice with an attitude that you are looking to improve and you are improving, and write down all of the good putts that you've been hitting and the way that you're thinking standing over putts, to have more evidence of showing yourself how you are developing in that area of your game, as opposed to just hoping it gets better by practicing on the green. Because yes, in golf, you need competence and confidence, not just one or the other, right? You can't just be really, 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 really confident and have no skill level, because that's not going to help. And you can't have, be the best putter in the world, but actually your head's not in the right place, so you can't do it when it matters. So you need this perfect blend of competence and confidence, and that's what we're trying to get into this golfer. So we have the affirmation side of things. Okay, you've got the data, you've got the feedback. How many putts did you miss? You're putting your stats back into where you apply and where you upload all of your stats. Look at that as a whole. Where's the evidence that I'm improving, right? Rather than acting and associating a lack of progress based off of your emotions and your last performance. So the outcome of all of this was that he was playing freer. He sent me a message saying, definitely freer today putting wise. I think first day he shot like 4 or 5 over. Again, first round out in competitive environment. And then 1 over and 1 over. Finished in the top 20 of his first tournament, right? In 6 months. Now we know that the best thing that could have happened to him is that things improved each day, rather than got worse. So we managed to catch it then, which is great, and start to flip it. So we're going to have a call this week, which is great, so that then we can actually go over that in more detail and figure out what's going on and build more of an identity as to how this player can improve his putting. Because if there's one big mistake that golfers make when it comes to improving their or certain aspects of their game or their game overall, is that they always focus on the whats and the hows. How do I make my putting stroke better? What do I need to do to hold more putts? As opposed to, who do I need to become in order to hold more putts? It's people go up the wrong way of the pyramid. They go, what do I need to do? How do I need to do it? And then I become this person that is a better putter. No, I'm going to adopt the mindset and the identity and the thinking patterns, the feeling patterns and the performing patterns of a world-class elite level putter, and then figure out how I'm going to do that so that the what takes care of itself. So hopefully that makes sense. And if you are somebody that has a mental block with a certain area of your game, or is always telling themselves that they'll never be a good driver or a good putter or a good chipper, and there's a part of your game that you're just not that confident, and it's the missing link to the next level of your performance, stopping, dropping 2 to 3 shots per round and turning your talent that you do genuinely have into top 10 finishes or better, then all you need to do is hit the link in the description below, and there's a free training down there that you can watch to help install what I call pressure-proof golf. And then from there, if you resonate to everything that happens and you want to actually work on this yourself and talk to me and have a conversation face-to-face, then I do offer free mental performance audits where we can jump on a call and figure out what's going on in your world. And then from there, if we decide it's a good fit, we can discuss coaching. But if not, at least you can go away with a game plan in what's holding you back and how to move forward. So I hope you found that useful, and I'll see you in the next one.